Hello everybody, it's episode 3 of Podcasting Over PSP, which is a title I came up with in between episodes 2 and 3 of this show. So if you thought that I had gone in with that concept already, that's just the genius of my retrofitting this idea onto the previous videos. Why does it seem like I don't have anything equipped? Oh, am I using like the staff?
It looks like a toilet brush cleaner.
It does. What the hell is happening?
Or
Oh
a
shit,
meat,
I froze
possibly?
that guy.
Is it supposed to be
Yeah, it's
meat?
a meat. What the fuck? It says raw. Like, what the fuck did I equip?
Raw meat. The raw
Is this
beef.
just what my new sword is? Oh my god, it does. Yeah, it's just a sword, I guess. Okay, well,
What
I
happened
didn't see
to
this
your
coming.
regular weapon? Is
I
this
changed
the
some equipment
mission?
in between the, in between, so I think it might just be the new equipment I equipped.
Is it just good? Is that why you put it on there?
Yeah, it was just better than the regular sword, I think. I did not expect it to look different at all, you know? Certainly not to be a meat on a stick. But it's called, like, meat, it seemed like. Or raw. It was called raw or something like that.
Now you have to change your character's name to Shish Kaboob.
Oh my god. Well, this is really interesting. It kind of attacks differently, too. It seems. No, I just have to time my button presses differently.
I can never get enough of that.
Yeah, alright, well, you know, so we decided that because of the fact that this... Okay, branding a Let's Play is really fucking difficult. I've learned this over the years because people have very different ideas of what is or isn't a Let's Play, and I thought it was really funny that during one of the previous episodes, I referred to what we were doing as a traditional Let's Play. Like, I said, oh yeah, we haven't done any, like, these traditional Let's Plays in a while. But, like...
When this is absolutely in no way, shape, or form traditional Let's Play commentary.
No, well, okay, so for anybody who doesn't know the backstory of Let's Play, it started from the Something Awful forums. And the idea was that people would play through a game and...
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, right?
It was a simpler time.
In those forums, people would play through a video game, like usually an older game, and just like write out what the experience of the game was like. And like as they got more advanced, people would use screen caps and stuff, or like some people would write it in more interesting ways than others. But like basically, they're just summarizing a game and their experience going through it, and that was a Let's Play. And then obviously this made this, you know, for video content, this seemed like obvious, but like. What ended up happening was, like, people who would just play video games for, like, just because they were new or hot or, like, that they, like, would have a reaction from you started cropping up, and then, like, PewDiePie fucking out of nowhere becomes the biggest person on fucking YouTube. And that happened a long time ago.
PewDiePie.
It's been, like, a while now. And, like, the whole fucking situation has changed. Like, he doesn't even do that kind of video anymore. Like, what he got famous for was playing, like, fucking,
Minecraft?
No! He was playing, like,
Well, he was playing, like, the horror games.
Yeah,
or,
what
like,
the fuck is that one called? Slenderman. Like, he was playing, like, Slender and fucking, you know, probably Five Nights at Freddy's at some point. That was, like, a little later. But, like, I remember the earliest thing I saw of him was, like, compilations of him getting scared at, like, Slender and Amnesia and, like, those kinds of horror games, you know, that everybody was making reaction videos to because they would ham up their over-the-top reactions,
and
you know?
Kids loved it.
And motherfuckers like Markiplier, like, that's their shit,
Oh,
you
God.
know? So... And then they just developed the style of constantly reacting to absolutely everything that happens in a fucking game. And it's like, it's not interesting, you know? It's, I find it pretty boring, but, like, I understand why people like the over-the-top reactions and stuff, and especially if they get afraid, you know? But PewDiePie has moved his content in a completely fucking different direction. He became, like, a meme review channel, essentially, you know? He just talks about whatever's happening, like, whatever he happens to have on his mind that day, basically.
Yeah, he's really taken to being a personality kind of guy and an edgelord. And
But
he's cool.
It's just crazy because, like, around the time when he was first, like, really becoming the biggest name on YouTube was when Let's Plays were in. And aside from him, there was this huge culture of Minecraft Let's Plays, some of which had gotten really crazy and creative. Like, you had shit like Yogscast, where they're, like, completely telling a story in Minecraft. Like, but doing it as a Let's Play show, essentially. So it's like, there's so many different types of Minecraft Let's Plays, and little kids would try to make them, because fucking anybody can just download Bandicam for free and fucking record themselves playing goddamn Minecraft, which was a readily available free game for a long time, you know? And then even after it went for sale, it was like one of the best-selling games of all time. So, you know, either way, plenty of people have the fucking game.
When I was in high school, my friends, we had like a Minecraft server, and we would just, you know, go through a Skype call and record us playing and dicking around in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Terrible content.
That was Shade's
Nobody
childhood.
ever watched it.
So, like, that kind of Let's Play starts to become a thing. And I think it's hard for me to remember when me and Shade did our Chameleon Twist Let's Play. But we had done a Let's Play of Chameleon Twist in like 6 parts on my old Modal Soul Productions channel. I think I unlisted this because the audio quality was so bad and like it just is not entertaining. But like, you know, I did it before I had the equipment that I have now. Like, this is before I was trying to be a YouTuber. I've had a YouTube channel since 2007, you know? Like, Modal Soul Productions, we've regularly been posting like comedy videos and shit on there since forever ago. You could look at it as an active YouTube channel because plenty of shit was posted, but nobody was watching it, you know? So like there was never the sense of me doing like being a YouTuber in that time, but nonetheless I did a Let's Play show with Shade, you know? It was awful, and I think I straight buried it, but like oh my god, there's no way to get over to that other side of the fucking area.
How old would have Shade been at this point?
Oh god. I mean, I assume we did it when I was probably around 20 or 21, so he would have been like 14 or 15.
It's just really funny because he just turned 22.
Yeah.
And 22 feels like a hot minute for me.
I started my YouTube channel when I was 16. And we would have been doing this well into me having that old channel, but not so long into it that I had the new one, you know, obviously. And it was before GameCube chats. So, like, what had happened was the conception of a Let's Play continued to shift over time, and the Game Grumps became mega successful as soon, like, right out the gate, because anybody who thought that Egoraptor or JonTron's sense of humor was good and had been following them for a long time, or newly, because like I had only just found out about JonTron because Egoraptor had like reblogged his shit, you know. So like, it was really exciting to see these two big guys collaborating, and the fact that they seemed to be friends. And there was a lot of eyes on it, and lots of response videos made, because this was also at the time when video game analysis channels were taking off, and a lot of video game analysis channels would like make reactions to shit that Egoraptor said in his videos in Game Grumps, because everybody had started off, like, the reason everybody started doing analysis videos is because of his fucking Mega Man and the Sequelitis videos. Those were like, you know, those are really early video game analysis content on YouTube, so they were hugely influential. And so all these people who are influenced by this guy are making videos in his style where they shit on the things that he has said in his Let's Play about the game. I think I left the level. Do not want to abort the mission. That was not my intentions. I'm just lost.
Oops.
But, yeah, like, this fucking level is really unclear about where to go. I'm just trying to clear up any space. The fucking maps, it's really hard to like get every single corner of the map and be completely sure where you've been because of the way that it's shaped.
Yeah.
It's awkward as fuck. Anyway. So, you know, because of the fact that Game Grumps is like a comedy podcast, basically, like, I mean, when it was John and Aaron, they reacted to the games a lot more than in the Dan and Aaron era, where it became much more of just like a cozy, laid-back, like, comfy podcast show where these guys just talk about whatever's going on in their lives, essentially, you know, and like their past and funny stories and, you know, less trying to analyze the game as well. the game became more incidental, I feel like. And me and Victor crafted our show based on that. Because I had just marathoned the entire Dan era, having not watched it, like, for the first year and a half. I had, like, after John left, I just had lost interest, you know? And then I came back, and I was like, oh shit, this show's actually more just like a comfy, relaxing show. It's not asking you to be funny all the time. Now, because of the fact that I am not good at being funny all the time, as you may have noticed, this is not a comedy podcast. So, like, there was another show called Two Best Friends Play that I think is still going, right?
I'm pretty sure. That's the one that I ended up watching more of.
Yes. So, Two Best Friends Play was what sold me on the idea that it was even possible for me to do a Let's Play initially, because I had never watched it, but I watched the Two Best Sisters Play parodies, which came out of the Brony community.
Oh boy.
This is when I was a Brony. And there's some of my favorite videos that ever came out of the community, because they're like full-blown animations, basically, of the Royal Sisters, Celestia and Luna, as the two best friends play. And it's just using audio from the show, but with the sisters animated over it. So they have the voices of the guys, you know, like it's just clips from the show. So it's really funny seeing those voices coming out of the characters and the way they chose to animate it. When I tried to actually watch the show, I was not that entertained by it because it's just footage of the game, and it's not as funny as like representing what they're saying literally, you know.
Yeah, no shit.
So like I tried to watch it, but what had intrigued me the most about their style was that they cut out everything except for the exciting bits, you know? Like, I think you can watch long plays of like the whole session, but then they would have like the cut together videos, which were the more popular ones, because even among Let's Plays back then, videos were just not that long, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, there was like a 10-minute like limit for a long time.
Yeah, if you didn't have a a approved account. But like in the world of YouTubers, we tried not to go like over 10-12 minutes ever. Like generally you were trying to be under 10 minutes because it was thought the common perception was that people watch YouTube videos on their lunch break. They just throw on like little 3 to 5 minute videos and they you know just go between those whenever they happen to be on the computer, you know.
Yeah, it's like, just like there's an expectation already of what a YouTube video should be.
Yeah.
And it'd be really weird to see like a, you know, Let's Play content that's way longer than the stuff that's popular.
Right, exactly.
It's just copying everybody else, like.
And like, you know, most of what would get big wasn't necessarily the Let's Plays themselves, but like the compilations of funniest moments, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, whenever you searched PewDiePie, it would always be like PewDiePie reaction compilation, not like that would be the first thing you got before the actual Let's Plays themselves. But because you can release both and both can get a lot of views, it's a really good structure for content in general, you know. But like Game Grumps episodes were 12 minutes long. Digibros episodes ended up being 20 minutes long. And it was kind of at a time where they were shifting towards Let's Plays being a little bit longer, you know, like because, I mean, Game Grumps put out 2 videos a day, if not 3 when they started up Steam Train. So it's like, you know, yeah, they might only be 12 minutes long, but there's 2 of them every fucking day, you know? And if you start like, initially, you wouldn't watch them back to back. You'd watch one, you'd watch another one later. But, you know, the more you got used to it, the more you just started watching them all. In marathon form, you'd go back and rewatch the whole series. And then you realize, this is good TV, you know, like...
This is better than TV.
People get a lot out of this stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really funny moments, quotables, songs get made out of the show. Like, a lot of the fan culture that surrounds stuff like The Dick Show, like, I first saw that kind of stuff emerge through Game Grumps, of, like, the heavy acknowledgement of the audience and the participation with them, like, making songs and memes that they would address on the show, you know? And I feel like that's pervaded into like the way that a lot of shows have fan bases now on the internet, you know. I get tons of fan art on Twitter. It happens in waves because people see that I will reblog the fan art when one person does it, and then other people will do it because I reblogged it, you know. Which is pretty fun. But anyway, over time videos have gotten longer and longer. People just are into enough fucking super goddamn long videos came out from people like me that now everybody's used to it, and now we don't watch TV anymore at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're like me and all you watch is YouTube, you want as much long shit as possible, and I know that's like what a lot of my core audience is like. They are people who, yeah, they might watch anime, they might play video games here and there or do other shit. Man, it's crazy.
This is a supplement for TV for them.
Yeah, it's crazy how much of my audience doesn't even seem to really, like, be into video games. Which is also a part of why I would have to, like, mask a Let's Play to some extent. Because I think a lot of people, it wasn't that hard to switch from watching Egoraptor and JonTron making comedy videos about video games to them making comedy videos where they play video games, you know? It's like, yeah, it's video games. I'm into video games. That's why I follow Egoraptor and JonTron. If you watch an anime YouTuber play video games, it's a different experience, and people just don't associate me with video games. And part of that is because of the Let's Plays I've made where I've shown that I'm not amazing at games. Like, and people really take your skill into account when you talk about shit. Like, especially if you talk about shit and you, like, beat up on games that you're not good at, and you can't justify your arguments well, you know, which I don't do.
Do you think that's kind of like a backlash against more traditional games journalists who are constantly like, oh, I want the games to be easy and to have mass appeal? People
really hate, especially, like, all the people who argue stuff like, oh, Dark Souls should have an easy mode so it's more accessible to gamers. It's like, that defeats the whole fucking point of the game. Like, the oppressive atmosphere is the point. You can beat this game. You don't have to be fucking handy capable. A paraplegic guy beat Sekiro. Or quadriplegic guy, I think. Fucking, you know, it's just a matter of understanding the mechanics and taking the fucking time. And not everybody wants to do that, but, like, not everybody needs to play the fucking game, you know?
Right.
So, even if you do, you're not going to get the meaningful experience out of it if you play it that way, you know? In any case, fucking, what the hell made me start talking about that?
You're talking about Let's Plays.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and you were talking about how it was hard for you to brand Let's Plays because you're somebody who's known as, you know, somebody who kind of sucks at games.
Yeah, I'm not the best. I mean, I'm doing fine at this game, but that's because it's Phantasy Star Online.
It's just because you do Let's Plays, and, you know, when you play, like, it's hard.
Well, that's part of it, too. Like, it's really difficult to play a video game and talk at the same time.
Most people play video games for fun, but when you put it online, it becomes, like, you know, a badge of honor. People are going to criticize, like, you playing it wrong. Like, that's just what's going to happen.
Right.
Because you're taking the time to show it, so, like, you know.
Right, and, like, for me, it's like, I will make very, like, broad statements about a game that maybe I didn't completely beat, you know, and sometimes people are wary of it, even if they agree with the things you're saying. They might be like, yeah, okay, like, your observations are interesting, but you should really play the rest of the game because you might be able to, you know, there's even more stuff in it that will add to what you're saying and stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there is some danger in the fact that, like, for me, it's just really difficult to find time to play as many video games as I
mean, most game reviewers
because I'm not a game YouTuber, you know,
play the whole game before they make reviews.
Well, people on YouTube do, but, like,
yeah, people on YouTube do because they're able to play the games.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just kind of like things would be different if I was just dedicated to gaming as a subject, and, like, the only reason I'm not is that I just know more about anime. Not just that I know more about anime than games, but that I know more about anime than most people, you know?
Right,
so, like,
and there's
people are more likely to
people
turn to me as a anime guru.
Games experts.
Right.
There's people who are, like, majoring in game design in college and stuff. So.
And a lot of them are just way more passionate about the stuff where, like, they do a franchise retrospective, and I can tell they played through these games over and over again. And even games that I love, I do not play them like that because I have other interests, like, I may really love games, and I've played hundreds and hundreds of games, and I do tons and tons of research on games, but I don't obsess over individual games to the extent where I feel so passionate about them that I have to make a fucking 6-hour video, you know? I'm interested in doing long-form content about games and research, but not in, like, you know, just like the absurd dedication to be the most thorough you could possibly be on most games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also why I wanted to cover the GameCube, because it's like I am passionate about it because it was a big part of my childhood and my nostalgia, you know. Most gaming channels bank on covering things they're nostalgic about. Like, that is the bulk of gaming content. It's what it's always been. And like,
yeah, you're either going to talk about nostalgia or you're going to talk about new releases.
Yeah, and like, I think the nostalgia conversation is always interesting because people keep growing up. And like, you know, when I was coming up watching YouTube, I was watching AVGN, I was watching, you know, Egoraptor and JonTron. These guys all talk about, at the latest, Super Nintendo games, you know? Like, they're people who were into games from a younger age. I mean, JonTron was talked about a lot of N64, so I could relate to that a little bit more. But he doesn't talk about GameCube games, you know, not for the most part. Like, they talk about games from their childhoods that really impacted them, that, like, laid the groundwork for their understanding of video games. And, like, it was always interesting to me watching people talk about that shit, but I didn't grow up with any of that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I started on the N64. I was really, like, at the height of being into games as a kid in the GameCube era, you know? And, like, the strongest sense of identity I felt as a fan of Nintendo was in that, like, right around the launch window of the GameCube, when I was reading Nintendo Power, and I was obsessed with Pokemon.
Likewise. And we're becoming old bags. The people
Yes.
who are on YouTube are not, you know, mostly our age anymore.
But there are some, like, we've
yeah,
been watching...
I mean, we were the people who grew up with YouTube, so obviously there's still a large
Yeah.
demographic of people in their, like, mid to late 20s who are consuming content constantly on the platform, but, like, there's waves of new people coming in constantly.
Mm-hmm. I think a YouTube channel that we've been watching the last couple days that's, like, exactly our age range is K-Bash, who's a guy who does video game
Yes.
commentaries. And, like, a lot of my interest in his videos is just simply the fact that this guy is talking about Game Boy Advance games and, like, you know, early Wii games and games that, you know, I remember, and I was probably the same age this guy was or so when these games came out. So it's like, yeah, this guy, like, if I watch an Egoraptor video about fucking Mega Man X, it's like I'm looking at something that came out before my time.
Yeah, but, like,
that I
you
played
can
when I
kind
was a
of
teenager,
look up
you
to
know?
them, too, because they're
Right.
older.
Exactly. But if I watch a K-Bash video about fucking, you know, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, I know we played it around the same time, which you had that exact... Like, he had played it the same way you had, which was, like, got it for Christmas that winter. Because, you know, that was what the new game was around that.
And it opens with, like, an
time.
epic snowball fight, and it was
Right.
just, like, a magical moment to play that game, and, like, he had the same exact experience.
It's such a smart release decision to release a game with a snowball fight.
I don't know if it was released
its
during
intro.
Christmas, it just, like, probably around that time. But I'm sure it was a lot of people's Christmas present.
Anybody who played it, you know, I mean, I played
Yeah.
it, but I don't have any particular memory of how I came into possession of it. God damn. This guy doesn't spend any fucking time on the ground. Also, he's fucking terrifying. Have you seen this fucking thing?
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. Are
I mean,
all the
it's
bad guys
rare to see
dragons?
I mean, this thing's like more of a... I don't know if I'd call it a dragon.
I mean...
He's got big old arms. He's kind of more of a guy.
Yeah. A winged golem beast.
Some kind of fucking thing. I just want him to be dead thing, but he's barely ever on the ground. Oh,
World
boy,
of
he
Warcraft
does some
looking
damage.
motherfucker. Ew, he has spikes on his
Oh,
ass.
God, I fucking... Well,
He has spikes on his ass.
I guess I failed. That's the first time I failed a mission. He did so much damage. I felt like I was under-leveled.
Who designed him to have spikes on his ass?
They're on my ass. My ass. Alright, let's do the other one, I guess. Level 10 plus? I'm definitely level 10 plus. Anyway. What the fuck was I talking about before I got my ass reamed?
You're talking about K-Bash.
Oh, just like being our age, yeah. So, like, I want to cover all the GameCube games just because it's like, you know, not only is that my nostalgia, but those games are all like 8 hours long, you know? It's like, yeah, I don't have to fucking... I mean, granted, there are, you know, JRPGs and shit on the GameCube, but there's not a ton of them, and they're interesting. You have shit like Baten Kaitos and Tales of Symphonia, and fucking, you know.
And Pokemon Coliseum.
Oh boy. Well, you know. There's enough GameCube games as well that I could literally, like, just pick and choose my way through the library for a long time, you know? Like, I covered the 3 launch titles, and then I covered Pikmin, which was the one that came out after, and I also covered Metroid Prime, which came way later, but I just wanted to talk about it because I played it, you know? And it's like, man, I'd love to continue doing that, but, people just don't really know me as a gaming guy, and I don't know. Watching other people's videos about games, I definitely see how everybody else takes a different kind of approach than I do, where, you know, my writing, even when I just write, like, a review, there's still, like, such a strong gonzo element to it, I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah, and
It's
I don't
definitely
think
just
people
different.
really come to games analysis for that. Like, the expectation and the precedent is, like, you're either going to be funny about it, or you're going to be, like, very in-depth and very thorough.
I'm just holding forward right now. Oh, it wore off, thank God.
But, like, with anime, because you got in early, you kind of helped to set the tone, and there's a lot of, you know, YouTubers who talk about anime who do put a lot of themselves into their work in more of a sincere way.
Well, I think
as well as, like, memers.
A big part of it is that with video games, like, with anime, you don't usually talk about all the mechanics of how anime works. You just talk about, like, the story and the characters and what it meant to you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And with video games, you gotta talk about, like, okay, does the combat feel good, you know? And, like, not every critic is gonna address all that stuff, but generally you want to. And, like, I want to. I'm interested in those kinds of things. But, like, for my viewers who are, like, let's say they're primarily anime fans, not necessarily gaming fans, watching my game reviews might not care about all the mechanics and shit because they're not going to play the fucking game, you know? So they're just like, what's interesting about this? You know, like, why are you talking about the movement mechanics in fucking Mario? Like, I don't give a shit. Whereas gamers care about that kind of stuff, but then they might be like, oh, well, I don't care about the, you know, the elements of story analysis you've done in here or something. I don't know. I haven't really done that much of that kind of thing.
Yeah,
in, like,
I think with
reviews,
games, there are people who care about every element of it, but there
Yeah.
is such an emphasis on, you know, gameplay and mechanics, which just isn't, you know, in traditional media. You can't, like, watch a fucking...
Well, and it's also, like, partly that I
input.
personally focus a lot on the mechanics when I talk about games. So it's like, it's a very different kind of video.
Yeah.
Even if it makes just as much sense to me as, like, a part of its genre. If you were, you know, coming to one of my videos hoping to hear an interesting aspect of storytelling, and instead you hear me talking about game design, you're gonna be like, I don't give a fuck, you know?
Yeah.
But, I'm interested in that shit. And it's also that I've talked about such a scattershot, because, like, most people who do games analysis also have, like, certain genres that they're clearly like, this is my thing, or franchises, you know? Like...
Right, because nobody's playing every game.
No, and...
Most people don't have every single system.
And usually there's something that you really specialize in that's like, yeah, I really love character action games, or I really love intense micromanagement simulators, or, like, you know, whatever genre.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just tackle all the classic franchises. You just go one by one through, like, any game series that's considered to be, like, one of the best, like a Metal Gear Solid or Zelda or something, and you do them one by one.
Yeah, but there better be something special about your analysis, because there's so many
Right.
people who take that approach.
And, like, there's a lot of those games are some of my favorite games, but I already feel like they've been done, you know, they've already been done so much that it's like, yeah, I don't know, like, I don't see myself making a, why Zelda is good video, you know, like a 45-minute video about Ocarina of Time. There's already so many of them, you know. I can make, like, one or two little points about it, and that's kind of what I did with Dark Souls, where I was like, man, I had wanted to make a 30-minute Dark Souls video, but, like, it was already, it had been covered so much by then, you know, by the time I got around to it. So then I just put together my one little video, and it was pretty successful. So it's not like that's not a formula that can work.
Yeah, and it's not like all of your gaming content has not been successful. Like, some of the videos on IM Games, blew up. It's just, it really
Tom's
is kind
in particular, his Pokemon one, yeah.
Yeah, but like even the Spider-Man one, it's just like, it's really about hitting the right chord.
Views, yeah. And even like the Tales of one hit the view count goal that I had set, where I said I would do episode 2 as long as it hit that, and I still plan to eventually do more episodes of that series, but like, it didn't get the kind of views where I would prioritize it, and be like, oh, this is a great idea, because those videos take fucking forever.
Yeah, but I do think that is something your fan base would be more interested in because it's a JRPG. It's anime style, so, people are going to gravitate towards that if they like anime. Like, oh, it's an anime game.
What the fuck? No, I don't want to leave the level. Where the fuck? These levels are too fucking confusing and samey. And the map doesn't, do a good job of indicating where I have not been yet. Like, it looks like I've been everywhere, right? It doesn't look like there's anything that connects to somewhere. Maybe the top right? Oh, there's that door. Am I just missing the key for it?
I guess so.
And if so, where could I possibly go to get the key? Maybe I did get the key.
Maybe you already have it, yeah.
But I know I went to that door and got denied once. Like weird ice lasers.
Why are they happening?
But anyways, regardless, I guess I got the key. Regardless of how well some of my gaming videos have done, Let's Plays themselves were always difficult to market. Because the kind of Let's Plays that I ended up favoring, that both I enjoy the most and I produce the most, are podcast Let's Plays. Where the video game basically is just incidental. It's just there to have something to occasionally talk about when you're having a lull moment, or even just to be visual accompaniment, because we're on YouTube, some people just like to stare at the screen while there's something happening, and I listen to stuff like this. I would say the first one, other than Game Grumps, which is kind of like that a lot of the time, was Yahtzee's Let's Play called Let's Drown Out, where, as the title implies, they were playing mindless games. He would go out of his way to play games that were not exciting to watch, so that you could just have it on in the background, and that's kind of what I modeled the style after. And so, Let's Drown Out was a great kind of marketing, because it suggests to you, this is not a Let's Play. We're not really worried about the game. We're drowning it out,
It's really funny because I would be turned off from that kind of content immediately.
Yeah? Well, why so?
It's just, that's not really what I come to YouTube videos for, and it's only, if it's a personality that, I really, want to hear talk, and I'm interested in their opinions and, their dynamic with their co-host.
Well, sure. That's why I liked the show, because I was a fan of Yahtzee.
No, definitely. It's just, it's funny, because it's kind of oh. I don't know if, I would ever watch, a Let's Play like this.
Uh-huh.
Because there's just so many podcasts that I would rather listen to.
I mean, we listen to Vic and Hope, which is
I know. It's exactly because I care about their narrative.
Right.
But I'm not really, don't really gravitate towards content like that. Digibros was the only Let's Play that I watched of that nature. The ones that I liked were super informative.
Well, and that's the thing. What you like about it is that it's me, and you just like me as a content creator. You think my takes are interesting, but the thing about it is that I can get decent views on a podcast. But I couldn't get decent views on my Let's Play, even though it was the same thing. So it's if there's a bunch of people who are clearly interested in hearing me talk about things, because, I would do podcasts I did the pub crawl. That always had the fewest listeners because it was really hard to promote.
Yeah.
It didn't make a whole lot of sense to people why it existed. It was basically us just drinking and doing shit, and it would often have an inconsistent schedule. And, I just wasn't really promoting it because I wasn't making any profit off of it. It wasn't really my show. Then there was the Procrastinators podcast, which had kind of bloomed out of the horse cast that we did with on Endless Jest's channel. And, that had, as many views as you'd expect a podcast on his channel to have. But, the PCP gets okay views for a podcast, It gets, 10,000 views a video, usually. I don't think it was like that initially, but it didn't take that long to get there. And that has me and a bunch of other people. Maybe those people are more interesting co-hosts than Victor is, or just the fact that there's a whole bunch of us. Maybe there's a lot of people who listen to the show who don't even like me,
I mean, I think it's because there's a variety of creators, all with their own fan base.
Yeah.
And just, like, it's been around for a while. Like, these are people who have been on YouTube for years.
Yeah. And, like, Jesse was also doing Let's Plays in the form of the Blue Glow, which I thought were fucking hilarious. And, like, that never got as much attention as I felt like it deserved. And, like, there are some people who do stuff like Germa and Donkey who are, like, it's not really Let's Plays, but it's, like, edited comedy content through gaming. And, like, you can mix up elements of that in there, and, like, all kinds of experimentation can be done. But, like, when it came to DigiBros, I always felt like, man, this is a pretty decent podcast, and I talk about a lot of my opinions on things, and, like, I tell stories. I don't see why, like, to me, doing a podcast without the game, if it's just me and one other person, it's just like, well, why not have a video game, Like,
yeah, why
people
not
can
have
look at
something
it.
to watch?
There can be something to react to. Right.
Yeah.
It's not distracting, even if you're just listening to the episode. There's so little about the game, and usually it's us explaining things. So,
yeah, I do think the one negative is it can derail conversation. If you're coming to the Let's Play entirely for the conversation, don't give a single fuck about the game, and something happens and they lose train of thought frequently, like you do. But I'm always here to pick you up where you left off. I can see why that would be a little aggravating if you literally didn't care about the game at all.
Mm-hmm.
It just does kind of change the nature of the conversation, and I think that's why people who don't like Let's Plays, who aren't interested in video games, won't watch a Let's Play.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, but I have been, I've spent a lot of time trying to change up the marketing of it and be like, how can you communicate more easily? Like, because the way that Game Grumps would title their videos would be like, each episode would have like a unique title just based on some dumb thing they said in the episode, but it would be like Super Mario World, Game Grumps Part 28, name of episode, whatever, in some order, all those different pieces of information. And it's like, what this communicates is, this is a playthrough of this game. That comes first and foremost. The titles are just goofy nonsense. Like, what matters is that it's the Game Grumps, and that they're playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I was like, I really don't want the game to be like a focus at all. I don't want people to think, oh, I don't know this game, so I'm not going to watch this video. I don't want anybody to think like, oh, I don't really want to watch like gameplay footage and hear somebody reacting to it. I want them to think, oh, this is a podcast that just has a video game in it.
Right.
So that was why I came up with the name Podcasting Over PSP, because it has a twofold purpose. One, this game is called Phantasy Star Portable, which is PSP. They obviously did that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So it does tell you the name of the game in some sense, but it also implies that this is just a podcast series where I play PSP games and we talk about it. And since in the first episode I was talking about how, like, oh, I just got introduced to the PSP and the whole library is open to me, it's like, it would make sense.
Yeah, it's very natural. It's a fitting title.
It would be if after we finished, let's say I beat this game, and we're like, oh, we want to keep doing these Let's Plays just like this,
Yeah, there's more games on the
Let's just
PSP.
go play another PSP game. There's Phantasy Star Portable 2!
Yeah, right. The fun continues.
Though the way I've been playing this has been so mindless.
That's what you want, though.
I guess so. Anyway.
That's what I want.
That's enough musing about fucking, not PSPs, about fucking Let's Plays. LPs. And their history.
LPs and PCP.
Is there anything you want to talk about? I'm starting to fucking strain my voice from talking too much.
I know, your voice sounds funny. Alright, so, weird thing about my online class. So I'm taking, like, some classes online for this semester. Because I don't live near the college that I'm going to. So I'm taking some classes online. It's pretty flexible. There's a good amount of work. And there's these discussion forums that take the place of classroom participation. If you've taken a class online, I'm sure you've had to experience this. Basically, there's a prompt, and you post about the prompt, and then you have to reply to other students' work. So I went in today, and there's 30 kids in my class or something, and the original post is due today. So I I spend an hour typing up a post, make it real good, make it interesting. I did it about, privacy law and the scandal with Cardi B using, so Cardi B, for her first mixtape, uses on the mixtape cover, it's her drinking a bottle of liquor, just chugging it, just necking it, and her legs are spread, and there's just a guy with this giant fucking tattoo on his back, just presumably eating her out.
Yes, it's a shot of a guy's back in front of her crotch, and she takes up the rest of the image. And so it's just a picture of a guy eating her out,
it's the most trashy image imaginable.
Except for the guy's back happens to be the back of a real person who is not in the image, who they just have photoshopped in on top of her, and because it's such a recognizable tattoo,
it literally takes up his entire back. It's this guy has a pretty substantial Instagram following. He's a surfer and Instagram model, so he's always has his shirt off. People are gonna, if they know the album cover, they're gonna be like, oh shit, it's that tattoo. Did you eat out fucking Cardi B?
Yeah. And so he's suing them, right?
Yeah, he's suing them.
Why do I have 10 of
false
this
light? Muckpat.
That's a lot of shit.
Muckpat, my guy. Beef Edge. What the fuck is a
Yeah,
beef edge?
that's what I'm using right now is the beef edge.
Oh my god, amazing. The beef edge.
Unfucking believable.
That should be a weapon in Soul Calibur.
Anyway, you were saying about your assignment.
Yeah, so I made this assignment. I did a lot of research, typed it up, slapped it in there. Today's the last day. There's literally nobody has submitted an assignment. And I'm just wondering, what the fuck is going on?
Are you the only one?
Am I the only one who's survived?
Yeah, is class already done?
Because, when you take online classes, especially the higher level class type stuff, where there's a lot of work, people will just disappear. The number will start to dwindle. If you're the only one
left, they should just give you the pass.
No, I don't think...
It should be like Hunger Games.
I really doubt that I'm the only one left. I'm sure it's just the, Blackboard fucking up, hopefully. But it was very strange. I kind of have, a weird anxiety about it. I need to email my professor and be like, is my thing broken? But yeah, online classes are jank as fuck. And
Agreed.
Doing forum posts are always stupid because they just come out like papers. It's never an online post because it's supposed to be kind of formally written, so it's just a paper. And people comment on it, but it really is not it does not supplement actual discussion at all because you're not really learning from the other students. It's kind of well, I already did all the research, I already kind of did all the work, why do I need to respond to your work? It's, you're not really saying anything interesting. And the kids in my class, some of them put a lot of effort into their work, but I always have the longest responses. And it's just oh god, why do I do this?
It's the artism.
No, it's just that I should be further along in school than I am, but I've taken a lot of breaks. I've gotten what I deserve. I'm in class with a bunch of 19-year-olds.
You're going to get what you deserve.
You got anything to talk about?
You
wanna talk about the list that you've been working on?
Oh man, I'm gonna need a drink first. I need some kind of
water.
Hydration.
I got the water cup near us. Yesterday was Shade's birthday.
Oh shit, happy birthday, Shade.
Yeah, I texted him 5 minutes before midnight. Because I don't know when anybody's birthday is. I don't know how I don't know anybody's birthday. I know my, immediate family, sort of.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I forget. But it's just
I mean, who gives a shit?
I don't know, people always, like, contact me on my birthday, people who I haven't spoken to in, like, years. They'll be like, oh, hi, happy birthday. And it's like,
I get a
how
lot,
are you keeping track?
Because most people use Facebook all the time, and Facebook tells you
but
whoever's birthday is
I have 800
coming up.
friends on Facebook. Like, I get notifications every day about somebody's birthday. Don't give a fuck. I'm not looking at those notifications.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get a lot of birthday well wishes, and I know some people who, like, respond to every single person who wishes them a happy birthday. I do not, because it is overwhelming.
I just like that shit. Like.
Yeah, I usually.
Because they're mindlessly doing that to you. It's just because it pops up as a notification to wish you a happy birthday, and I don't know what compels them to wish people like, thank you, but, like, are you doing this for everybody you're friends with?
Yeah.
Like, is this a part of your day? Do you wake up every morning like, oh, let me check the Facebook?
I mean, it's always like, I know there are some people who I see them wish a happy birthday, and I think, okay, this person knows my birthday, so I know that they are doing this because they know it's my birthday, and they're just, posting it on Twitter or Facebook as well. But then, like my parents, they might wish me a happy birthday on Facebook. They're more likely going to text me,
Right, like, I don't wish people happy birthdays on the wall. I'll give them a call or I'll text them.
But there are some people who I only really communicate with through Facebook who I am willing to believe sincerely wish me a happy birthday. There may be one or two people who I would actually message and say happy birthday too. But for the most part...
But you're not checking, like... You wouldn't know unless you just happened to go on Facebook when it was their birthday.
Right, yeah, and I don't do it.
You don't, like, mark it on your calendar. It's just, like,
I
when
only
I
do
went
it if
to
it's somebody
college,
who, like...
I literally was roommates with somebody who, every single day, like, set aside, like, 5 minutes to wish happy birthday to everybody on their Facebook friends list.
Jesus Christ.
And they had, like, 1,000 friends. And it's just, like, what does this do for you? Like, do you sincerely care about these people? I don't know, man. I just think that's weird as shit. Like, without the emergence of social media, this behavior would not be rational or realistic or...
No.
Like, what is this... What are you communicating by doing this? It's just... I think they're just trying to be a good person, and this is what they perceive in their head. It's a good person move.
I think you're right.
It's a nice guy. A nice guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
it's
good
like
with politeness.
It's like a mad bloomer trait.
I don't really like... I don't know. I do things for people when they happen to be around. It's like, there's a lot of my friends who I don't talk to my friends that much. Like, even my online friends, you know? Like, if they're people who I think I'm going to run into in real life, I'd rather wait until I saw them to really, like, catch up, It's like, if we're working on something together, or, like, they're doing something interesting that I want to hear about, that's one thing, Like, we all still have a chat. We talk to each other when things are going on. Might ask each other questions about what each other's doing.
Are you referring to the PCP?
Yeah. Like, but
it was really funny because you were on yesterday, and you just kind of used that as an opportunity to ask everybody what they were up to.
Well, I figured that's the best the show was going to be. Like, it didn't seem like anybody was coming in with, like, a major topic they wanted to discuss. So it was more like, hey, what is... I see Ben is doing some stuff with Chris Chan. I know Tom is still working on his game. I know Nate and Hippo had an exciting new episode of the podcast.
Mage and Nate are setting up the
PCP Minecraft server. So it's just like, let's just get caught up with everybody. That's a fun show. It was pretty good. And yeah, now you're listening to us talk about it on a completely other show. So this is all a rich tapestry of narrative here that we're weaving.
Yes.
Anything else you wanted to talk about?
Certainly.
Because I know that there was something that you wanted to talk about in the next show we did. I don't know if you want to get into it or not.
Well, sure.
Let's go for it.
I got a bone to pick.
I got a bone to pick!
Bone to pick.
I don't want you monkey mouth motherfucker sitting in my throne again!
I got a bone to pick with degenerate furries living in glass houses.
She's mad!
Oh boy.
But she ain't stressing.
So, Twitter is a place where minor celebrities and irrelevant assholes vie for attention and clout by causing drama and punching up. So there's a furry artist. Let me go to Twitter so I can identify them for you all. Oh God, where am I?
Now this person,
all right.
I don't know if they're like forward about the fact that they are a furry artist.
They are.
You
all
can
right.
dig for it.
So no, they're forward about being a furry artist.
Okay.
So this tweet came from the personal account of a webcomic artist who does everything in a furry style. And the person is like at Unicorn Mantis or some shit, but they have several Twitters. They have a Twitter for just their art, all furry. They have a Twitter for their webcomic, and which is furry. And then they have a porn account. So they take a bunch of screenshots of just video titles and thumbnails that you've done that include the word
done.
Yes, that you've done, that include the word lolly. And it says, trigger warning, pedophilia. Jesus Christ, dude. So I go to this guy's page. Just you know.
What are the images?
The video. Okay.
So that was the text of it, but there's the images.
So there's four thumbnails of videos in here. There's one about ranting about my perfect lolly body.
Yes.
Lolly, a philosophical deep dive. Today's anime. Ranting about how lolicon isn't pedophilia. Ranting about in defense of lolly art and lolicon. All of these videos, barring one, are rant videos. And the other one is just an anime of the day video.
Yes.
So these are all user-submitted requests.
A lot of them are.
Besides the other one is just about a show, which is...
Well, I think the perfect lolly body one... Oh, that was a rant.
Yeah, ranting about my perfect lolly body.
Yeah, but that was also in reference to me saying that I wanted to have... that I wanted to be a lolly on like a Digibros episode.
Yeah, I mean...
That had been clipped somewhere. But yeah, that's not what he sourced.
There are more condemning things online about you and lolicon. This is a very lazy attempt. Yes. Obviously, he typed in Digivro and lolicon and just took whatever popped up. Yeah. But a lot of these are rant videos, so it's like, okay, well, he didn't choose to rant about this. Somebody even provided the title usually for these. So I go to this guy's page. Immediately in one of his accounts, he has like a picture of the girls from My Hero Academia as furries. It's like a super sexualized lesbian image. And it's like, okay, well, these are underage girls drawn as furries. So then I go to his porn page, and it's a bunch of furry porn. So I just, I take one of the furry porns, and I comment on his page. Lolly bad, but this is okay? Question mark.
Uh-huh.
And then he blocks me. As it always goes. And then he continues to just tweet weird things. And, like, at first I thought he was talking about me, but then it turns out that he wasn't. That there was just another person he was getting into an argument with. Uh-huh. But, he's talking about, like, incest now, ignoring lolicon, and saying, like, things... Let me find this one.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't expect somebody who's not into lolicon to be into incest either.
I just don't even know how that came up. But it was just like, oh, like, you're a 30-year-old woman. Why are you spending your time, like, fighting with kids online?
Even though this guy was, like, 20 himself. He's not a kid at all.
Yeah.
Also, his profile describes himself as he, him,
oh my God,
male,
this person
lesbian.
Fucking tweets yes. They are a he, him, lesbian, and a furry.
I'm not sure how that one works.
No, I don't know
Unless
either.
It's meant to be a joke.
I don't think it is, because they, like, talk about their pronouns a lot. They use that as a defense.
How can you be he, him, and a lesbian?
Mental illness, probably.
Oh, boy.
I can't fucking find it, but he was talking about how, you know, I have an audience of mainly children, like, and you adults, like, don't have anything better to do
and
other
meanwhile,
than
he
argue.
links to his porn account on his fucking Twitter.
You could fucking easily find his porn account, and it's like, okay, you have an audience of children, but you're peddling furry porn to them? Like, I don't know, it's just the hypocrisy is extreme. And I'm like, I don't really know when to stop on Twitter. I try. It's like, okay, well, if there's obviously no discussion to be had here, there's, you know, walk away. But I don't block people. I rarely mute people. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I was getting into a lot of arguments with just, like, really stupid people. And it just comes down to the person is saying, like, I know that it's just a drawing, but it is a child. And it's like, no. Can you not understand that it is an abstract depiction of a child? And it's like, okay, what I'm trying to say is that, like, you would be a zoophile under the same logic because furry porn is abstract depictions of animals.
Right, exactly.
Do you understand how ridiculous this is?
Yeah.
That's what the point of it is. And they're just like, you know, they're offended because they think I'm trying to say that, like, they're a zoophile and that what they're into is disgusting.
So, no, I'm saying the opposite.
It's just like, you are retarded. Like,
I'm saying that...
But, you know...
I'm saying that what you like isn't disgusting. It doesn't make you a zoophile. Yeah. So you should shut the fuck up!
Yeah, you're just making yourself look like an asshole. And then there's, like, people who are, you know, arguing in defense of Lolicon with this people over and over again, even after I've, like, walked away from this exchange. And I just, you know, I keep getting notifications about, like, the continuing arguments. And it's just a lot. Man, it's like, I'll stand by my position. But, like, I don't really want that to be all I tweet about, so it's kind of like, well, I don't really, you know, I know my followers
it's
are
really
on my side.
Something really fucking funny to me about culture in general is just how everybody draws their own line somewhere, and it's so different for everyone, and it really just comes down to, like, whatever you personally think or experience, but it has nothing to do with what other people think is acceptable, you know?
Right.
It's like, there are so many people who don't even blink an eye at, like, if there's going to be a rape scene, if there's going to be a violent scene, if there's going to be, like, you know, sexualization of, like, a minor in an anime series, it's just like, you just don't care. It's just like, I don't care. Like, I understand what this is in context, you know?
Right,
like,
and I mean,
it's a fucking movie. It's a fucking movie,
there's
you know?
There's an argument that none of this should exist. There's an argument that it's immoral to have depictions like that. And, like, it extends beyond, like, Lolicon. Like, if you draw where do you draw the line is, like, it's kind of where the argument is, but, like, when it comes to porn, like, fucking animals is not okay. Like, it's wrong. It's just like, you know, pedophilia. Like, if you're touching kids, it's wrong. It's an illegal activity. You're not... There's a victim, you know? Right. And that's kind of where the line is, because that's an action.
Right.
Like, anything else is a thought crime. It's censorship. And, like, you know, porn really doesn't have to be protected speech, but if you're making the argument that furry porn is acceptable, then you need to understand that the logic that makes furry porn acceptable needs to be applied to other things.
Yeah.
That you can't just be like, oh, it's gross, it's icky, I don't like it, so it shouldn't exist. So if you're making an argument like that and you're a furry porn artist who has an audience of children, you need to get your fucking head checked. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, all of this shit, like, it's really funny because for me, it's like, I can talk about how, like, yeah, okay, I like lolly shit, you know, whatever. Call me the lolly man, but, like, it's really not that much about the lolly art as it is the principle for me, like the free speech principle, you know?
I think that's how it is for most people that actually defend it.
The idea that, like, people wouldn't be able to express whatever they want really, like, really irks me. Like, if there is no victim in what you're consuming, I mean, for fuck's sake, like, anybody who shouldn't, if like, okay, how do I put this? Playing video games doesn't make you violent, right? But it can inspire people who are violent. And they'll say, like, oh, yeah, you know, I was inspired by fucking Doom or, like, Marilyn Manson. And it's like, man, somebody should have kept it out of your hands, you know? Or, like, somebody somebody's responsible for this, and it's not fucking Marilyn Manson, you know? It's your fucking parents and yourself and, like, you know, just, like, whatever is wrong with your mind, that's on you, you know? And, like, we can say, like, hey, man, there's nothing that society can do about it in some of these cases, but, like, fucking, you know, that's not Marilyn Manson's fault, you know?
No, and
it's that crazy people exist.
There's a lot of evidence to show that the existence of art like that actually has benefits. And to ignore the benefits, like, you know, Marilyn Manson is a way that people express themselves. They listen to that music because it relates to them. People play video games to reduce stress. There's lots of studies that show people who play video games are less violent and less aggressive. You know, but there's also people who become more aggressive because they're desensitized to violence. The same goes for furry porn. There are members in the furry community who do heinous things to animals and children. They're community leaders. They have people in their communities who have groups who fucking rape and kill animals. But people find, you know, belongingness in the furry community, so who's to say that furry art shouldn't exist? But, like, if you're gonna say that lolicon, you know, makes you a pedophile, like, you need to fucking look at what you are doing, too, with the same skepticism. Like, there can be an argument made that, like, none of this stuff should exist, but you can't be biased when you make that argument. You can't be like, oh, furry porn's okay because it's not as gross to me. Because in reality, furry porn is fucking ugly as shit. Get your eyes checked, my guy. Your art fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It's just like, that guy's tweet, that's gonna be the biggest tweet he ever has. And it's because he's punching up. And it makes people feel good about themselves, but it's like you're taking somebody's words out of context, so I'm gonna, you know...
So paint them in an incredibly negative light, you know?
Yeah, for your own benefit, like...
And, like, it's really funny, because, like, I've been on the internet forever. I take all of this in stride. Like, I imagine that there are people out there who would be, like, threatening libel suits on people for saying shit like this about them, you know?
I mean, if you could prove it negatively affected your bottom line, absolutely. Yeah. In this case, I don't think that it will affect your bottom line at all, because some of the things that you've said are way more incriminating, and, you know, you've said that you're a lolicon, so...
Yeah.
Like, come what may with that. Like, I don't really think that there'd be a case for libel. I mean,
if somebody's saying that I am a pedophile because I, you know, like, am into lolicon, like, if they're trying to say that, like, oh, this man is a danger to children, it's like, that is certain. Like, I feel like that's something that
absolutely is slander.
I don't know how hard it is for you to make a defense for yourself in court by saying, like, yes, I'm a lolicon, but I'm not a pedophile. Like, are they gonna accept it? I have no idea.
I mean, it's extremely difficult and costly to press libel charges.
Right.
So, you know, it's very uncommon for it to happen, but I absolutely do think you have a case. But I think it, like, really depends on the other person's words. Yeah. Like, by saying you're a pedophile is kind of a very vague statement.
I mean, obviously I would never do this, and, like, a lot of it is funny. Like, a lot of people are just being funny, you know?
Yeah, it's like, it's not that serious, but it's like, I just fucking see shit like that, and it's like, dude, it's very obvious that you're trying to do this for fucking clout. Like, and I think it's funny to show how bad your fucking art is. Like, I think it's funny that I have one of the highest comments on your fucking post of your shitty furry porn. Like, and I think it's funny that you had to block me and not address what I had to say.
In the fucking hair.
Like,
do I have a gun? I have arrows. Maybe I can use this. Fuck.
But yeah, Twitter is a hellhole. And I'm sorry if you follow me on Twitter and you keep seeing that in your newsfeed and you eventually had to mute me. I just always find it surprising because I never really seem to lose followers. You think that I would lose followers, but I think I do a pretty good job at, like, casting a net with, like, a meme and then just constantly, like, reposting fucking precure images and weird, like, offhanded comments that I kind of, like, filter through the people who would be, you know, who would not really be approving of these messages frequently enough, where my Twitter has never really, like, fallen.
Yo, this boss takes a shit on my fucking dick. This boss is a piece of shit.
He takes a shit on your dick with his fucking thorny ass.
Ugh. Look at that. He was on the ground for long enough for me to get one spell in. And he fucking hangs out in the air forever. I don't have fucking Zonde. I can't fucking use electricity on him. So, like, all of my party is fucking worthless. And it takes forever. Because the bosses always take forever.
Yeah.
But you can't even lay any hits on this motherfucker. Oh, boy. Anyway.
Extremely lame.
Yeah, the fuckers on Twitter are a lot. Personally, I really think, like, anybody who's not willing to stand up for lolly art is somebody who I can't respect, you know? Like, there's nobody who I respect who doesn't take that position, and that makes it even harder for me to respect anybody not taking it, you know? It's just like, how can you not understand what the rest of us are seeing, you know? About how, like, it really doesn't matter if you like it or not. It doesn't matter how it makes you feel.
It's like those people don't understand that by thinking that way and by pushing policies to be that way, they're setting a precedent that basically is going to negatively impact them in the future.
People, it's really funny. People always say that, like, slippery slope arguments are a fallacy, but there's so many cases where they're obviously real.
Let's look at Patreon. Patreon banned furry porn.
Yeah.
And the same thing, they banned lolly porn and furry porn, and they are extremely strict about their policies on this, but it's the same logic they're coming to.
Right.
It's bestiality.
And it's just like, okay,
furry porn
so
is
we're
bestiality.
willing to fight for the ability to murder people in video games. We're willing to fight for the ability, you know, you furries are willing to fight for the ability to draw furry art that could be, considered
I mean, I've
inspiring
seen very
bestiality.
realistic-looking furry porn that, you know, it's part of the community. It's part of what they look at. They have a huge, you know, subculture of cub porn, which is just furry lolly porn. Mm-hmm. Like, and why aren't you addressing that within your own community before you come at other people?
Yeah.
Like, get your shit together.
Especially if you're posting pictures of it. Like, the amount of people who are like, oh, I'm anti-lolly, but then they're into, like, 15-year-old anime girls.
It's like,
bruh.
What's wrong with you?
You understand that almost all these characters are high schoolers at the oldest, right? Like, do you realize that's always the case?
If you think it's okay if it's a 15-year-old, like, then in your mind you're able to make the distinction that, oh, this is a character, they are, you know, drawn to be abstract and sexualized.
Right.
So, like, if they're 15, like, you know, in the real world, that's not okay. But this isn't real because it's a fucking drawing. That the same logic should be applied to anything else.
Right.
Like, everything has the right to... Art has the right to exist no matter who it offends. And it's like, you know, I really hate to see art be censored. It's sad because people put a lot of work and feelings and passion into it, and like
evil
countries that allow lolly porn and lolly imagery have lower instances of child rape.
Censorship
so
is
it's
a
just
means
like,
of
you know,
control.
where is the evidence that it's like corrupting society? Do you have evidence, or do you only have anecdotal evidence? Because
censorship is always about moving the bar further and further to see what they can tell you that you're not allowed to see. And you can look at how, like, dangerous censorship is. Just look at China. Lots of shit's fucking censored there. It can get worse. They can take away websites. They can take away search engines. They can take away anything they want. They can say, oh, pornography. Like, in fucking London, you have to have an ID scan to watch porn on the internet.
Yeah.
They have to scan your ID and
this
prove
stuff
you're an
that's
adult.
happening now. Like, policies like this are, like, popping up all over the place. And we really need to, like, if you care about this, you need to take a stance, because things can get really bad, and they are getting really bad for lots of people. And maybe you don't care about it, maybe you don't think it's that big of a deal, and, like, that's completely your right. But, like, if you get something out of freedom of expression, you should protect it. Because there's, like, very little things in this world that, like, actually make people's lives better. You know?
Yeah.
And art is one of them.
Wow, what a fucking Saturday morning cartoon lesson we've learned here today.
I mean, like, when it's platforms who are saying they don't want that on their platform, they have the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
It's just like...
It's just, I don't respect it.
Right,
I don't
it's like,
respect
I'm not
going to
give my money to these companies who, you know,
No, I need to change my
who don't stand up for creators. And, like, Patreon it's hard because Patreon's like the most visible way to crowdfund.
I mean, to be fair, I really
stuff.
should have set up a new project too by now. Like, I have one, and I just have never set up the page. And, like, it's hard because I have tons of shit uploaded to Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, obviously I would keep my Patreon. I'd run both. I would just have New Project 2 for people who don't like Patreon. But, like, you also keep more of the money because Dick does not take money from you.
He doesn't
aside
need
from,
to,
like, what the bank costs
he doesn't need to maintain, like, a huge site.
Right, and well, and he's also not doing it for profit for himself, you know?
Right.
Like, he doesn't need the money. It's just a vehicle for people to move money back and forth, you know? Like, that's all it should be. That's what I kept saying about Patreon. Like, it should just be a bank, you know? It shouldn't have to fucking take all this money out so it can build social media features and shit. So, you know, New Project 2 obviously doesn't have the visibility, and I'm not kicked off of Patreon, so it's not like I'm, in an immediate sense, like, incentivized to set up an alternative. But, like, I do think that it's good to show that, you know, hey, we're willing to support an alternative because of the fact that you guys made these changes and, like, you've taken people off your platform, and I don't respect that, you know? Like, regardless of what your reasoning is, I just don't respect the fact that you did it.
And it's really great
and
that
if there's
New
a platform
Project
that won't...
2 exists because it allows creators to send that message. It stops Patreon from being a monopoly. Like, it's just, you know, we need to be able to express ourselves via who we choose to, you know, give our money to. Fuck, the most libertarian podcast around.
Yeah, well, you know, it tends to be that way. But I'm not necessarily like a, you know, I'm like, all the libertarianism is just, like, in protection of the ability to do what you want to do. Like, I don't, like, completely begrudge, like, all, like, government projects to, like, help people and stuff like that, you know, like, I don't completely hate that I hate having to pay taxes, but I don't, like, resent what the government is doing with my taxes all the way. I do in a lot of areas, you know, like, I would call for massive education reform.
There's a lot of room for improvement.
Massive military, you know, difference in how the military is run and what our priorities are in terms of foreign policy and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
who
like,
we're deciding to give money to, like,
and
for what? Like, I really think, you know, babies deserve a lot of money. Like, Dick made this argument that WIC, it's like women with children. So little money goes to them, but then, you know, you look at other government programs like food stamps and they get way more money, and it's like, you know, newborns really can't, they don't have any say in what is going on. They really do deserve to have more funding put to them. Yeah,
it's definitely like we should have a system in place to, like, pay people to be fucking parents, you know, which is like kind of what UBI is supposed to be. Like, Yang kind of looks at it like, hey, look, you know, if you fucking are making an extra $1,000 a month, you might not have to fucking work a job full time to take care of your fucking kid.
There was actually,
you know?
like, a non-profit organization that was giving, like, thousands of dollars to parents who decided not to get an abortion.
Cool, you know?
It's very interesting.
If that was all it took for them to be able to raise the kid, then cool.
I mean, it's not enough. Like, $700 is not enough. Like,
well, I mean, I just mean maybe that's all they needed as a boost. Maybe it was like, oh, we could afford to have this kid if we just had, like, you know, $300 extra a month, but, like, it's dicey right now, you know. They're like, hey, look, have the kid, we'll give you the money, you know. If that's the mindset, then it would be cool.
America.
This boss is heinous.
Heinous.
For anybody who's not watching the video, since we addressed the fact that, you know, oh, maybe they don't care about the video at all. Maybe they just want to listen to it as a podcast. I'll explain what's happening. So there's a boss. This game has boss arenas where a very large, you know, screen-consuming boss is fought by me and my team of 4 teammates, or three people who are controlled by AI, all of whom suck. none of whom have ranged attacks at all. One of them is a healer, which is helpful, but the boss is this big winged fucking golem thing that...
Don't you have spells? Are none of them effective?
They don't hurt him while he's in the air.
Would any of them be more effective than going up to attack him?
I mean, I've been using the ice spell continually, but because the ice spell has some range to it, and I think he's probably weak to ice because it seems like he uses more like fiery attacks.
Yeah.
But
he was a Pokemon.
Theoretically, because there's a thunder power in the Phantasy Star Online games. I don't know if I have the thing to learn it, or I just don't know, or if if anybody's supposed to have it at this point. But assumably, I'd be at least able to hit him with the fucking thing. But because of the fact that nobody has any ranged attacks, we can't hit him while he's in the air, and he spends the majority of the fucking fight in the air. He comes down once every blue moon to just unleash one attack. He comes down, uses one attack, which usually hits you while you're on your way to come get hit to hit him, because it fucking hits a huge area and you're trying to get up to him for an attack. And then he goes back up in the air. And bosses in this game tend to take a lot of fucking damage. It's expected to be that when you have the opportunity to hit them, you have to lay the fuck into them. But he's on the ground for like a second. And, yeah, it's a pain in the dick. And that's what's been going on in the game. See, look, he uses a different attack based on your approach. So it's like, there's no way. There's just no way you can get up to him. And he doesn't have like a life bar. There's no way for me to know how much damage I've done. So
that's
it's just
the worst part.
Oh,
that
God.
is absolutely the worst part.
It never ends. I mean, it might be... I don't know if I have an item that could show that or something. Maybe there's something I can use that'll uncover the boss's life bar. I don't know if that's a thing.
You have a one-piece swimwear.
Yeah, I can't wear it though.
I see.
Unfortunately. Did we already miss our chance to attack?
Yeah.
Everybody tried anyways. Seems like they all just like wait for me to attack and then they attack.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. Alright, what else do I have here? No, I don't have anything that seems helpful. It's just like, yeah. Should be nice if he came down so I could fight. And like, I'm just running around randomly while he's attacking up in the air. It's just like, you don't even really have to evade his attacks because he just attacks random areas and then just flies around. He just keeps flying around.
Worst boss fight.
This is a fucking miserable boss.
It's no use.
It is a Sonic Team game. I remind you. What else do I fucking...
Oh boy. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, anyway, anything else that you wanted to talk about on this fine episode of this Let's Play?
We've been doing a lot of walks.
We do walk.
I'm very surprised that, like, the past couple days have been 90 degrees.
Yes.
Where are we?
September.
Are we in hell?
We're in heaven, my friend. We're in the only place that's nice.
Yeah.
For most of the year.
It is nice. You know, the nights have been really nice, too.
What are the odds I have something that'll teach me fucking spells? None.
None. You don't have any TMs with you.
No. Which is kind of odd. Like, usually you would have picked up a lot of spells along your journey in Phantasy Star Online. I don't know if, maybe I just have to buy them at the store.
Probably.
I really don't know. But, I will be
Kill that
fighting this
asshole.
boss until my dying day, I think.
He's coming down, right?
I have no idea. He just keeps using spells. He's just sitting around in one spot.
Just come down, please.
Such a
He's gonna
fucking
fly to
cunt.
the other side
Where
of the
did he
map.
fucking go?
Oh my god. It's no use.
Is he over? No, he's over. Oh, where the fuck are you? There you are. Fucking cunt. Oh boy. Well, what were you gonna say about the walks? Just that it was nice outside?
Literally the most boring comment I've ever had. Do you think there are people in our neighborhood like recognize us? Like, as the couple who constantly goes on walks at, like,
I mean,
3 in the morning.
Yeah, we usually walk so fucking early in the morning that people are not even out. But we do walk in midday.
But there's sometimes, like, you will walk by a car and there'll be somebody in the car at, like, midnight.
Yeah, possibly smoking. Smoking a fat fucking J.
We have yet to talk to any of our neighbors. I mean, I said hi to one of them once.
That goes for, like, all the houses. I mean, we had spoken words to our next door neighbors in Boston because they cut our lawn.
Yeah, I mean, we met our neighbors in Rochester too, like a couple of times. Yeah, the ones that just moved in. Not just moved in, but moved in when we were leaving.
We had said hello over the tops of our cars. We never met them. We didn't know their names, you know.
No, exactly. I mean, it's very millennial.
We had run-ins with them, perhaps, I would say.
I'm scared to meet our neighbors. Like, the other day, one of them got arrested.
Yes, we did one time come home, and somebody was, like, 2 houses down, being, like, carted into a police car. We were like, oh. Okay. Don't know what this is about.
Maybe we aren't as safe as we thought.
Maybe. We're in the danger zone.
You are definitely in the danger zone.
It's just like, I have no way of knowing how long this fight is going to go for. Like, maybe I'm almost done, or maybe it's going to go for so long I'm going to run out of healing items and he'll eventually kill me. Like, it's impossible to know how long this is going to drag on for because I cannot see his life. We do so little damage to him while he's on the ground. He attacks us right away. It's almost fucking undodgeable because there's no way you're going to be in range to attack him without being in range of his attack, you know?
Right.
While still being able to get an attack in because you only have like a second after he attacks to attack him back. It's so fucking annoying.
What are those weird sludges?
Fuck the PSP. I don't know. It's just some weird, gross shit he uses, I guess. Probably captures you inside of it or something.
Why is there always a guy in it, though?
See, I use the Barta spell because it hits him twice if it hits both limbs.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Whereas a regular attack will only hit one limb, or a fireball will only hit one limb. But that's all I have. I mean, I have, like, a bow, but it didn't seem to hit him while he was up in the air.
That's stupid.
Yeah, like... See, it doesn't seem to be aiming up at him. And I don't even know if the thunder spell would work if I did have it.
You got caught.
I am aware. I don't know how to get out. Oh, I guess I'm out now. But, like, in,
Oh no, you missed your chance.
In fucking, Phantasy Star Online, the lightning could hit people who are up in the air. So,
I'm sure it's the same in this game.
I don't remember. I only played a little bit of Phantasy Star Universe, and this game is clearly modeled after that. But, you know, I don't know if the mechanics are exactly the same. I don't know if fucking the lightning spell even exists in this game. I would assume so. Fucking Zonde. Foe, Barta, and Zonde. That's your fire, ice, and... What the fuck? I fucking pressed the button? What the hell? Oh, it's because you don't have to... Oh my god. Because I'm using the staff, you don't have to hold R to use the fucking attack. So I was holding R and doing nothing. Well... That's just Prime.
Optimus Prime.
What else is going on lately?
Oh yeah, you're making me carry this podcast.
Yeah.
So I have a problem where I buy stuff to make a recipe and then never want to make it, and it's a pretty chronic problem. It's just like, okay, so on Mondays I don't eat meat, right?
Yeah, you do meatless Mondays.
I do meatless Mondays.
What's the deal with that?
All right, so I read this book called How Not to Die, I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's a book about why you should eat whole foods, because if you eat meat, it will kill you. And I'm kind of like, well, this is bullshit, but I mean, some of this is probably true. Like, I really don't need all the cholesterol, and also meat is expensive, and, you know, I like to try new things, and I like my vegetables, and, you know, there may be one day where we have to stop eating meat and eat bugs instead, and I'll already be adjusted. I'll be like, oh, I don't need to eat bugs, I'll just eat rice and beans. So, yeah, that's kind of my mentality behind it.
Missed.
It's mainly just kind of like variety.
I hate this fucking boss so
It's an artificial way to, you know, make myself have more variety and eat more vegetables. So I do that. So, you know, I get stuff to make dinner. Conrad does not participate in the Meatless Monday because he is a man and he eats meat.
In fact, the mere fact that it's Meatless Monday, and I know that the only food I believe that we have for dinner is this chili that you can't eat because it's, you know, got meat.
It also takes 8 hours to make, which is another reason why I haven't made it yet. The other reason is that the meat, you know, has a long shelf life because it's the grass-fed, like, ground beef that's in like a weird brick, but they last way longer than just like your regular saran wrap ground beef, just because of the way it's packaged. But you know, I've been kind of into this the more natural grass-fed ground beef. It kind of has more of like a more robust, kind of tougher flavor, but it's still good. It makes burgers like kind of taste more interesting, but
it is definitely interesting.
I wanted to know how it would go in chili, so I have this pumpkin chili recipe, but like all of the ingredients are pretty much stuff that like you know doesn't have to be used immediately, like onion and pepper and shit like that, and pumpkin puree. So I've just been kind of sitting on the recipe. But like when we go grocery shopping, I'll only usually get like recipes for 3 or 4 days because you don't want to have produce and meat sitting in there that long. I really don't eat frozen food anymore. Like, once I started cooking for myself, frozen food became like the first thing I didn't want. It's like,
yeah,
I can afford to not eat Stouffer's. I can afford to not eat like frozen pizzas and shitty food anymore. So that's not gonna happen. But yeah, you know, we just go grocery shopping. Try not to spend too much.
Oh my fucking god, we did it!
Shit!
Jesus fucking Christ. I was legit starting to get worried I was going to run out of fucking items.
Oh my god, you killed it, him.
Holy
Congratulations.
fucking god damn.
You did it.
Oh, I got an S rank. Well, I'm just excited because if we don't have anything to eat that's the vegetarian, then that means that you're probably going to want to go get some food somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And that means
subs?
that I'm going to... Oh, she said the subs! You got a vegetable sub you want to eat? What kind of veggie sub you want to eat?
A veggie sub.
What kind? What do you want to get on it? Tell me before I break these boxes before we end this episode to go get these subs.
And the tomato, and the cuke, and the pep, and the cheese.
Where do you want to get this sub from?
You can go to Firehouse or Zero's. I don't really.
Do you think Zero's will have the sub that you want to get there?
I'll check their menu, but I'm pretty sure they have like a bunch of vegetarian subs.
We'll touch on this before we end this episode. So,
oh boy,
fucking, there's a lot of sub places in Virginia Beach. They're all great.
They all have to be great to compete.
Right, but there's one. Oops. There's one that's a chain that I had not known is a Virginia Beach chain. It started down at the oceanfront. They're called Zeros. And they're all over town. I don't know how far into Virginia they go. But, like, I had remembered eating there and having a shitty experience one time because the bread was, like, super crumbly. There was a lot of, like, fatty steak in the cheesesteak I had got. It just wasn't that good. This is, like, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, we were looking through the newspapers, and it's, like, they're consistently rated best sandwich around. But, like, specifically the one at the beach. And I was like, maybe it's just that one that's good. But then we went to another one, and I got the cheesesteak, and I gotta say, it was, like, the best fucking cheesesteak. I was like, wow, this actually lives up to the hype. I don't know what happened last time when I went there. So if you find yourself in Virginia Beach, let me give you some advice. There is a place called Philadelphia on a road called, like, it's on Virginia Beach Boulevard.
There's two of them.
There's two of them, but, like, they're very different in atmosphere, and I don't know if they're just as good as each other. But the one on Virginia Beach Boulevard was for the longest time my favorite Philly cheesesteak in town, and I still think it's really good. However, Zero's is also a competitor. And if you want one that's, like, more loaded, you know, Jersey Mike's has the fucking Big Kahuna cheesesteak, which is what I was getting every single time. But after discovering Zero's, I think it might have dethroned Jersey Mike's, dude. I think it's possible as the best cheesesteak in town. And Jersey Mike's has other good stuff because they make stuff Mike's way, which is great for if you want to get like a cold sub, you know.
Good.
And fucking then you got Firehouse, which has totally unique subs.
Which is real good.
They're also great.
Good.
So yeah, it's like, damn, you really fucking can take your fucking pick. You do not have to go to fucking Subway.
Mm-hmm.
We have not gone to Subway once since we've lived here, and I hope to keep it that way for as long as possible. Anyways, that's it for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed.
Miguel out.